Stu! Stu, Shine, Riptide, Big House. Of those three, which all are you attending? It's my turn to get you a beverage of choice. A little secant. Brolivia? B-Rolivia. Harry. $8 Blue Moon. Yeah. Pro tip if you're going to a LAN. I found this out. I should have discovered this a little bit earlier. Whenever you get the opportunity to eat a salad, do that, because whenever you want to eat food, you're most likely stuck eating like burgers and pizzas. I've found Shine and Riptide. You'll definitely see me at Riptide. My wife is going to Shine. You'll see my wife at Shine. I am not going to Shine. Bro plus Livia, stupid username that worked as Guy Camouflage for Team Fortress 2. That works out. Well, I'm happy you're here anyways. Only sodium for 72 hours. Well, I want to eat, when we were at Riptide last year, remember they had that Raisin Cane's that wasn't done yet? I've never had Raisin Cane's, so I'm going to eat that. But I know that's not like a good, well-balanced diet. There's just nothing at that Ohio Sandusky resort that you want to eat. It's either like pizza, pasta, or burgers. Like a lot of carbs. And it's just like, whatever. So I'm going to try to eat more green stuff while I get the chance, because when I actually want to eat something, like when we were done at Low Tide City, at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, the pizza place is the only thing that's open, so I guess we'll just have some pizza. And I didn't eat anything. That Saturday at Low Tide City, I didn't eat anything. I got breakfast at my hotel. And then I just survived off of Vincent's gummy bears for the rest of the day. Hello, Gold Ebb Exits. Team is gonna make breakfast together. No, Sandusky, you need to go to the pancake place off just like down the road. The pancake place was pretty good. Oh wait, is your team staying in like a, I guess if you got a kitchen, if you got that same room you had last time, Falco, yeah, making use of that kitchen is probably a smart thing too. Then that requires grocery shopping. Tags brought you many great spellings. Well, so be it. Yes. You can get a 24 pack of waters at Walmart for the price of one water at the resort. Stop with that skyline nonsense. I'm glad you liked mine, because mine is the correct way to pronounce it, as far as I'm concerned. Splat-a-lot makes an appearance. Welcome back. Hope you guys are staying cool on that side of the pond. Understand it is extremely hot, and things in Europe are not built to really withstand that kind of temperature, so stay safe out there. I guess it's midnight around where you guys are at. For us, it's still nice and sunny. It's a nice, beautiful day out. But stay, survive through the day tomorrow. I guess it's tomorrow where you live, actually. It's still today where we live. You guys live in tomorrow. How do we deal with it? I don't know. Kind of just... I mean... Again, we're kind of... Some of our infrastructure is just kind of built for that. Our AC units are just kind of built for kind of crazy temperatures and whatnot, but different kind of roofing. I don't know. The thing is, we're built for these kinds of things, and I don't think you guys are, which is understandable. You know, some places in the South, if it just spits snow into the ground, they'll cancel school. Here, we'll get a ton of snow, and they'll still go through it. It just depends on if your city is built to handle snow or not. You can't have a budget that allocates for every kind of global warming issue we're going to be facing from here until the planet explodes, and who knows, next decade or so. Enjoy life while we're here. Hi, Jason is tired. Howdy. It's 30 right now. See, you guys are saying things in like Celsius, which means nothing to me. It is 83 degrees here, Fahrenheit wise. And I don't know what that means in Celsius. The rest of the world doesn't really care what you guys think of, or what we think about Fahrenheit, but so be it. Thanks for the follow, by the way. Because I'm from Bowling Green, Kentucky, where the team about 50 minutes outside of Nashville, so that's why we got the I mean, that's Kenny Britt on there. I don't think Kenny Britt played when I was in like high school, so this cup's at least 15 years old, and it's stacked on top of a to balance it out. It's stacked on top of a Indiana Pacers cup, so that kind of works out. Look at that old. I like these uniforms better than the those Navy helmets they got. I'm not a big fan of those things. You're in the Bahamas? You making those TO big bucks. Hello, K-Bot. Running Splatoon tournaments. Get that big money. Get to go on vacations to the Bahamas. I feel you. The old Rams? No, the old Rams are kind of the new Rams uniforms. I like the, I wasn't a big fan of the dark gold and dark, like, navy blue. I like the straight up blue, straight up yellow, which is kind of what the old ones used to be. I did like the white horns, though, that they ran for like a year. Kind of wish they kept that, but it's whatever. CK-Bot, your problem is you run LANs in major events. Splat-A-Lot runs Splat-A-Lot events. That's a little bit different. You can learn a thing or two from them. You just splat a little. They splat a lot. That was good. What's up, Jim? Old Jim. Jim, put a team together and sign up for Superjump this weekend. Hello, Uwu. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify. While you are about to miss registration because there is a deadline for Superjump, making an animation of a cat breakdancing for its owner, sharing with the world the hate boner that you have for cherry limeade, whatever it is that you're doing right now, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. Hey, when I was at Low Tide City, there was somebody who was, let's say, inebriated, who said in a jokingly way that I am the Keemstar of the competitive Splatoon world. If I were the Keemstar of the competitive Splatoon world, I would do a segment breaking down the Rhythm versus Cherry Limeade situation, or Rhythm trying to verse Cherry Limeade situation that we saw on Twitter last week. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to cover it. In my opinion, I felt like everything I saw was fine. I personally didn't have an issue with it. Not that it matters what I think or not, but I don't want the podcast to become something where, oh, look at these two people talking to each other on Twitter. And maybe it has been like that in the past. Maybe somebody could point out a segment I've done in the past that was like that. But I don't care. I mean, I feel like the initial post didn't cross a line, and I feel like Cherry Limeade's response didn't cross a line either. Of course, it wouldn't have. It was completely neutral. So no, I'm not going to sit here and do a segment talking about it. I don't care. I'll say this though, just in general, for those of you who have been private quote retweeted, I want you guys to understand something. It seems like it's a big deal, like it's an attack against you. However, you guys do realize, and I'm especially speaking to some of the younger people who might be listening to this, you've been private quote retweeted your entire life. Like the first time you went to preschool and the other 4-year-old saw you drinking a different brand of apple juice than you, that person private quote retweeted you to their friends behind your back. People are going to talk about you behind your back from beginning to way past the time that you die, when global warming just fries us all away. So like, who cares? Like, okay, now there's a number to it. But I promise you, you're getting private quote retweeted way more than what it appears on Twitter. I promise you. Just the sooner you stop giving a damn, the sooner you'll move on with your life. So we'll just leave it to that. News of tournaments that may be of interest to the casual listener of the Popcast, which goes out to everybody today because it is Superjump week. Make sure you sign up for Superjump today, right now. Why are you watching the Popcast? Stop. Well, no, you can still watch this, but you can also register for Superjump at the same time. Look, this isn't Battlefy. You can't just force your teammates to sign up without their consent. You have to actually get everybody to log in and check off the box and do all the other stuff that you need to do. Everybody individually has to sign up. Start.gg. It's fun. So the sooner you get your team working on that, the better. I believe registration closes. Actually, I can give you the exact time for EDT. There's the cool thing about the IPL channel, Discord channel, is that there's a bot that will tell you what time everything is, based off of wherever your like computer or phone is located in, whatever time zone. So registration closes for me Thursday, July 21st at 9 a.m. So basically you have till the end of Wednesday to sign up. That's 2 days. So don't wait till the last minute. Somebody's going to come in to help us. But Pop Gun, can I sign up on Friday? And we're just going to be like, tap the sign. You had how long to sign up? and you waited till the very last minute, no, not going to be feeling bad for any of you. So sign up sooner rather than later. You've been getting private quote retweeted before I was born? Probably. Probably. Did you see what Harry was doing in his mom's belly the other day? Absolutely ridiculous. Today, we are going to be recapping Little Squid League number 22. We will mention some SAC stuff from the past weekend as well. I apologize to the large number of people who attended RCADIA, Arcadia. I don't know if that's how it's actually pronounced. A lot of the stuff that I looked into it, there were a lot of people playing it. It was a LAN in Europe. A lot of the stuff posted was in a language I couldn't really, I guess I could have Google translated a lot of that stuff, but there's just a lot of information I don't really have, so I can't really talk about it. But I do want to at least acknowledge that there was a LAN in Europe this past weekend, and it seemed to be really well attended. And the pictures that I saw on Twitter made the venue look like it was really awesome as well. Like the kind of some cool lighting effects they had going on to kind of match the game. The main stage they had looked pretty cool. It was kind of posted up. It was more like Genesis 7, how the two tables were next to each other with the screen in the middle, as opposed to what we've been having the last couple of LANs with Riptide and Lowtide, where the two teams are just right back to back against each other with the thing being off stage. I think it's the format of the stage is a little bit easier for TOs when it's like what it is at Riptide in Lowtide City, so where like you can just kind of stand in the middle of two teams and everybody just being in like one little square, as opposed to just kind of the lengthier thing. But the lengthier thing looks better presentation wise. But I don't know. I saw the photos. It looked really cool, but I'm not going to just butcher people's names and the names of the teams that played in it. So I'm just going to acknowledge that it happened, and maybe at some point down the road, when I get my next EU person on the podcast, we'll ask them about it. Hold me to that. But first, it's that time of year again. Competitive Splatoon Christmas. Or maybe it's not fair to say that it's that time of year again, considering this is just the second time that Superjump has ran. But it is here. It is the week for the biggest online Splatoon tournament this side of the Pacific Ocean. This isn't just a major, though. When you think of majors, what do you think of? You think of any kind of tournament that is has a high prize pool to it, right? I mean, that's kind of the definition, 400, 500 plus a 2-day tournament, because it has to be 2-day to be considered a major. But this isn't just a major that we're talking about here, or just a tournament that is catered towards high/top level teams. It's a community-wide event. So when you think about a major Splatoon tournament, it versus the community-wide event tournament that we got going on here, you got to think of it with kind of a different mindset of how you naturally look at a major. The goal of this event is to get as many teams as possible and just have a giant, massive tournament, which of course is the goal of any tournament that we have, especially an online one, is to just get as many teams as possible. But the goal of this tournament to achieve that is to create a format, atmosphere, prize pool, all that stuff that casts a wide net to where it incorporates everybody that signs up to it to some extent, as opposed to, hey, whoever finishes in the top 3 get a payout and get all the glory and prizes that they need for that. So it's difficult to do. Can you make something that pleases everybody? No. Oftentimes, when you create some sort of event that tries to appease as many people as possible instead of select groups, you end up pleasing nobody and pissing off everyone at the time. Is that what's going to happen here? I don't think so. But we, the non IPL version of Pop Gun that has been involved in some of these meetings and has offered up suggestions for things with this tournament, is going to give a completely unbiased, in-depth look, a preview of Superjump 2. And if you stick around long enough, I might even tell you who's going to win this tournament. With 100% accuracy, of course. First off, will this be a massive tournament? Or are we going to see a crap ton of teams sign up for this tournament this time around? The answer to that is I don't think so. So yesterday morning when I was looking at the teams that were signed up here, you had 50. So that would be 50 or Sunday morning. Well, I looked at, you had 50 teams signed up, which quite honestly is a lot for a week to go before the tournament goes live. Because Splatoon players are notorious for being lazy, myself included, waiting until the actual last minute. As of right now, I'm looking at 70 teams, and just for the sake of accuracy, we're at 6:11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We are now up to 71 teams. Who was the 71st team to sign up? Random name generator? The thing is, I don't think it places them in an order that they sign up. I think it just places them in whatever order that you look at. There's probably a way to look like the order of who's signed up. But regardless, we are now at 71 teams. Incomplete, mind you, because you got to get all your teammates to sign up just beforehand as well. But you at least have 71 teams with the intent of playing. You still got the rest of today, you got all day tomorrow, and all day Wednesday to sign up. Are we going to see that 20 team per day jump that we saw from Sunday up until now? I don't know. I don't think so. In my mind, I think it's fair to say we're going to hit 100. We're going to hit triple digits. We're going to be somewhere in that ballpark. Maybe 110, 115, maybe 105. Somewhere in that range is, I think, where we're going to end up when registration closes Thursday morning. Now, that's going to be way short of what Superjump 1 was. Superjump 1 had 166 teams. That's a lot of Splatooners right there. But we're not going to hit Splatoon or Superjump 1 numbers. We're just straight up not. However, that is a pretty good number to have considering where we are in the stage of the life of competitive Splatoon, right? Like we've been seeing low ink numbers take a dip over the course of the past year. Little Squid League's numbers have gone down a little bit. Obviously, Minnow Cup. We're seeing across the board less teams sign up for events, with the exclusion of SOS, which has been hitting the cap 32 teams. I believe 5 out of the last 6 weeks that they've been running. I think that has more so to do with school being out for the summer is why we've been seeing so many teams on Wednesday night. They can afford to play a little bit later knowing they don't have to wake up in the morning to go to school or whatever. And they don't have jobs either, lucky little snots. But with this, with the less number of teams that we had last time around, it's fine. It's not a big deal because what have we seen with Low Ink? Even though Low Ink has had less teams, remember where we're getting 130 teams in January of last year? Now we're getting the ballpark of 70 to 80 teams signing up, and then when everybody drops, we're down to about 68 or so. But this time around, when you look at Low Ink, what is the one thing with Low Ink that is constantly trending up in the right direction and skyrocketing and breaking new records almost every single month that we run? It's the viewership. Before, we were lucky to get like 150 people watching Low Ink. And then the incident happened and we're getting 200. And now we're consistently getting 300. In the Low Ink we had last month, we got over 400 people watching live. 400 people watching the Yume Stars play a team. I guarantee you the vast majority of people in chat had no idea who they were. Splat-a-lot, who ended up winning the whole tournament. So if that many people are willing to watch a tournament like Low Ink, because they know the consistency and quality of the stream and the teams that play in it, you got to assume that the viewership for Superjump 2 is going to be just as good, if not better, than where it was last year. Pretty impressive. we're going to be, I think it's going to be pretty impressive, the viewership that we're going to be seeing right now. But again, it's understandable to have less teams. Think about it. We have less than 2 months. In less than 2 months, we're going to be playing a completely different game right now. You guys have about a month and a half left to enjoy missile spam. And then it's gone. It's gone. And it's weird because like my team's in this mindset of like, okay, what are some things we want to try different? Do I want to try dropping Hydra and picking up V-Jet and just saying, screw it, let's just fire missiles at them and just try that? But it's also in the back of your mind, you're just like, well, wait, what's the point? Missiles aren't even going to exist in 2 months, you know? So it's like, is it really worth it to try to grind the game right now? To grind the game and change your format, change your play style right now, knowing that you're just going to change it all again in a month and a half anyway. So it's a weird stage to be in, but it's kind of the perfect time to have like this tournament that ends everything. Or it doesn't really end it, but sort of a finale. Let's talk about the format for this real quick. And by real quick, I mean I need to stretch this episode out for an hour, so we're going to try to drag this on a little bit. The format for this tournament, as it is listed out directly on the start.gg page, a 16-team Swiss group. Only 4 rounds of Swiss, but only 16 teams in your Swiss group. And a redemption bracket for the teams that finished in 2nd and 4th place after those 4 rounds. Redemption bracket being a single elimination tournament. This is a little bit of a change from last year. The problem with last year's format was it was groups, which is not a problem. Groups is probably the ideal format to go for any kind of major tournament because you need to do some sort of seeding into your tournament. However, the groups last year were massive. These were big groups that we had. Some groups went 9 teams deep. That's a lot of teams playing in one group. Now, day 1 was just group stage, which is fine. You just play the teams in your group and you're done. And as soon as your match is ready, you go. You don't got to wait for anybody. You know who all you play. It's not just a roll of the dice who you play against with Swiss round. So groups was cool. The problem was with that many teams in the group, it was a huge waste of time for 2 people in particular. People that were at the very top, the upper echelon, like the FT Wins, the Starbursts, the Jackpots of the world. What's the point? You're only going to get 1, maybe 2 matches that you'll find interesting. A match that you'll think, oh, maybe I won't just watch this Valorant tournament in the middle of this match and actually pay attention. That happened, by the way, at Low Tide City. They're just not interested in playing against these other teams. So why are we making them do it 8 times on Saturday? So them playing less matches, if they play 4 rounds of Swiss this time around and they win all 4, they're done. They got their tournament out of the way. They're automatically guaranteed alpha bracket. Move on. Case closed. The other group that doesn't like this format is low-level teams. The bottom 2, maybe bottom 3 teams in those 9-team groups, guess what they did all day long? 3-0, spank, 3-0, spank, 3-0, spank. Oh, no, that's not fun at all. Now, some people were pointing this out when Splat-A-Little tournaments went from this skill cap tournament to an open invite one. It's this idea that playing teams above your skill level does not make you better. You just get your butt kicked and it's not a whole lot of fun. I want to comment on that, as I have done many times before here on the podcast. If you're a low-level team and you play against a mid-level team, that is going to help you improve. That you're not likely to win, although there is a chance for you to get a win, especially if it's like a best of 3. You can beat anybody in a best of 3, kind of. But playing a team that's better than you exposes what your flaws are. If you run the same crappy play style and it beats other low-level teams, you're going to keep running that crappy play style. But when somebody better than you exposes how your crappy play style is crappy, that forces you to, it forces you to improve and get better. However, when your Swiss group or your group is just loaded with monsters who can just spawn camp you all the live long day, does that make you better? No, it doesn't. And it's not a Splatoon thing. Any person in any esport or ball sport across the planet will tell you the same exact thing. No, when the team is that much better than you, yes, it is a total waste of time for both parties involved. I remember playing high school football, and there's that one team that was like in our district that it was just like, bless your heart, if you could score a touchdown against us, but they live so far away. It's like, why do they have to drive 3 hours to us for the butt kicking that we all know they're going to get just for them to drive 3 hours back? It's a complete waste of time. That's a lot. No, they didn't get better because of that. They just wasted their entire Friday. So no, don't let anybody tell you that playing teams way above you makes you better. That is a flat out lie. That's just a flat out lie. Playing teams slightly above you, the next step above you, yes. But the problem with those 9-team groups is you only get a couple of teams that are just slightly above you and the rest are just kind of stomping you. And they don't want to be playing against each other. So yes, the Swiss group format with just 4 rounds cuts the crap down significantly and helps make things better for everybody to some extent. The redemption bracket thing. So the teams that finish in 2nd and 4th are not automatically going to get into any bracket. They're going to get into redemption brackets, and they're going to play a single elimination style. It's like the 3rd and 4th teams play against each other, and the winner of that plays the 2nd place team, and then the winner of that moves on to alpha bracket. I believe there's a video coming out soon. They'll break it down a lot better than that. But I like the idea of a redemption bracket. We don't really see redemption brackets outside of LANs. And when I'm playing in a redemption bracket in a LAN, quite honestly, those have been the most fun I've ever had playing competitive Splatoon. Redemption brackets are fun. They're nerve-wracking, but they're always really competitive and really exciting. So I love the fact that a redemption bracket is being brought into the online format, and I kind of wondered why we haven't come up with more ways to do that. So maybe this major system that you have here with Superjump is the perfect way to create this redemption, this online redemption bracket, which I'm really excited to see. I'm really curious to see how all of this goes, though, with Swiss being in here. Even though it's groups, it's now Swiss groups with the redemption bracket. And I can foresee, not specific jank, but I can foresee jank in general happening here. When you do Swiss, as I have said many a times here on the Popcast, Swiss sucks. Stop doing Swiss. We only do Swiss and low ink because we have no choice, and I've explained time and time again why we have no choice to do anything but Swiss. And I feel like a lot of you just do Swiss because low ink does it. In fact, I'm not going to leak who, but after last week's episode, I got a lot of DMs from other TOs from other organizations asking my input on certain things. And one of them, I'm not going to say who, but one of them flat out admitted to me the only reason they ran Swiss in their tournament is because low ink did Swiss, so they thought that's what they should do too. Oh my gosh. So thank you for admitting that, but I guarantee you that wasn't the only person or only tournament that does Swiss just because of low ink. It doesn't have to work for everybody. So in the problem with it in this context here of Superjump is that when you do Swiss, you lose control of your tournament as a TO to some extent. There's a lot more RNG that goes into play here. With groups, you control everything. You control who plays who. You make up all of the matchups. With Swiss, And now it's start.gg Swiss, which admittedly I don't know as well as Battlefy Swiss. So it might not be as much random jank in round 2 that you would see in Battlefy Swiss. Whereas SAC last weekend, my team, who was number 4, played Foams number 2 in the second round of SAC. It's like, why Battlefy? Come on. So I don't know exactly how that's going to work start.gg wise, but you do lose a little bit more control of your tournament over the way that it works out right here. Now, the tiebreaker thing, because there's always going to be somebody who complains about tiebreaker. I want to make alpha bracket. That means I got to make the top 4, right? Well, what happens when I finish in number 5th? Now, my response to you is going to be, well, if you finished in 5th place of your Swiss group, do you really have a case to make that you can win this tournament? Probably not. But there was another tournament that happened that did have 16 teams that did 4 rounds of Swiss in it, and it was High Inc. 2. And we just did that. Now, we didn't do that as like the 5th seed moves, like the top 4 seeds moves on. We just did it as like a way to seed teams for the single elimination bracket coming up right after the Swiss round. So that was nobody got eliminated after the 4 rounds of Swiss. And when you look at the standings of that one, and I'll just pull this one up for just an example. When you look at the standings here of a 16-team Swiss group, where one team finishes in 5th place and misses everything, it was Unlimited Woomy United in this case, who only lost 1 game and only fell down here because their personal win percentage was just a little bit lower here. So yeah, jank like this could technically happen. And again, like the start.gg tiebreaker might not be opponent win percentage, with personal win percentage being the second one. I don't know that. But you might get jank like this happening where a team loses 1 match and just completely misses redemption bracket. It is mathematically possible for this to line up. But I'm not going to sit here and judge this until I actually see it happen. I want to see it happen. Is there a scenario where like Starburst trips up and they miss top cut altogether? I guess technically there is. My response to that would be, don't trip up so badly that you don't make top cuts, I guess. But we'll see. Again, wait and see how this works out. But I'm curious to see how that is. The positives of this format, like I mentioned, shorter day 1 for top level, but they still have to earn their spot. And keep in mind, when we had 20XX, there was upsets galore during their group stage. Starburst took an L. The team that the fake FT win team, they took an L. A lot of teams were taking L's in that Swiss group. Still made top cut anyways, as they're probably going to do. So forcing these teams to play at least 4 matches, and you know that round 4 match is going to be against a tough team, is going to make sure they still earn the spot. It's not just, hey, you signed up, you get to skip Saturday, you can just move on to Sunday break. No, you still got to earn a spot there. But at least we don't have to sit, like after 4 rounds, we're going to be like, all right, you got it. We don't need to see anything else. Stop beating up on people. Let's move on here. It'll also help teams in the lower end of the tournaments get to an opponent they can play against quicker. Once they start getting, all right, you've taken 2 losses, it's pretty much confirmed you're not going to make redemption bracket. They're going to start getting to those matches they want to play quicker, and they're not going to be sitting there getting spanked for 3 or 4 straight hours, and just get straight to the matches they want to get to, and then to the bracket that they can play in the next day. Again, it's impossible to find one format that fits and works for everybody. But the fact of the matter is, you couldn't run the brackets that were run last time. 9-team groups, it's just way too much. It's way too much. You had to change something, either make smaller groups or the Swiss group with which they're rolling at right here. So there is something had to change. And I'm not going to knock this until I see it, but I am interested to see how it works out, especially redemption bracket, because I think redemption bracket's going to be a lot of fun to watch, as it always is. So let's say you don't make alpha bracket. And, well, let's say you qualify for Sunday in general, which I believe everybody does qualify for Sunday automatically. What are we playing for here? The cash prize, at least as it is right now, is nowhere near as big as it was last time around. However, there is something going on here that makes this, once again, not just an IPL major, but an entire community event, which is what this is. The current prize pool is at $500, and I'm not sure if that's gone up any. I would assume somebody's donated like $1 or $2 here or there, but it hasn't gone up, at least as far as I'm concerned. It's obvious I'm not involved in like the social media. I could see it, but I mean, I'm not going to look at every single channel on the IPL server. But I'm pretty sure the last thing that we've announced is that it's $500 as of right now. However, it's not just about the money this time around. As you've seen with a lot of the tweets, there's a ton of collaborations with IPL, with other orgs and lands to create some unique prizes that you can't really get anywhere else. First off, the top 2 teams get free passes to Shine. I think that's pretty cool. Now, will teams win this tournament and then directly go to Shine? I don't know. And I believe it like trickles down to like, okay, if you guys can't go, 3rd, 4th place go, or 5th and 5th place. Like eventually somebody who's either already going to Shine or wanted to go to Shine will get those passes. So that is a prize that somebody is eventually going to get. Hello, Sloshy. The other prize, and this goes out to anybody who wins a bracket of beta and below. The teams that win a bracket below alpha bracket is going to be put into a raffle to where the winner of the raffle is going to get free passes to Riptide. So that gives you the incentive to play. Last year, it was just, I believe, just beta bracket that got a prize pool, and everybody had their panties in a bunch because of that. But this time around, literally every bracket that is won, even the lowest, whatever Greek alphabet brackets at the very bottom, if you win that one, there is a chance you could win free passes to Riptide. And again, if that team doesn't get it, it just trickles down somewhere. Somebody along the line is going to get free passes to Riptide. That's pretty cool. In my opinion, though, the coolest prize of all of this stuff is this last collaboration that is coming on with the Splatoon World Championships. The top 2 teams from North America / South America and the top 2 teams that survive the heat wave from Europe will get a spot in the Splat World Championship. So all of a sudden, this org, this IPL, this IPL org that started off because of low ink is now a automatic qualifier for 3 regions into the Splatoon World Championships hosted by Japan. That's pretty cool. And that gives the extra incentive over the top incentive for top level teams from all across the world to play into this tournament. That's pretty cool. So yes, it's not just IPL offering up a prize now. It's Riptide throwing in a prize. It's Shine throwing in a prize. It's the Japan Splatoon World Championships throwing into a prize. It's IPL making connections across the planet to make these things happen. And there's more collaborations to come down the line that haven't been announced yet. I believe some of them have been announced, but some haven't. And they're not prizes, but they are collaborations with other organizations across the world that is going to be pretty cool and help make the entire event a global event. And I'm not going to spoil it here. I'll wait for the tweets to come out for that as well. But again, it's not just a IPL event. This is a community-wide event, basically hosted and run by IPL, but with the help of everybody across the planet making it happen as well. Now, while this is a whole community event, not just a major, there is, I don't really care about that. Well, I do care about that, but it's not the number one thing on my personal priority list as I'm looking at this event. The number one thing I want to see, finally, is these top level teams playing against each other. We don't see it at DivX. We don't see it. We haven't seen it since last Superjump. We don't see it anywhere else outside of gimmick tournaments or Nintendo tournaments. And in my opinion, Nintendo tournaments are gimmick tournaments at this point. Starburst, FT Win, Jackpots, and not Alliance Rogue, but Ice, Kiver, Obito, Brian, and Gray. Those 4 teams are all signed up for this tournament. Right now, I think Starburst needs one more player to sign up for hit the thing, but everybody else is already 100% signed up. The 4 top dogs that we have outside of Japan are playing in this tournament, and finally we're going to get to see them all play against each other. Yes, that's what I want to see. We never see that. Like, imagine Hungrybox, Zane, Mango, all those what if you imagine those matchups and they just never played against each other for like a year? Like, they sign up in tournaments every now and then, but they never actually play against each other. That's what makes Smash Brothers so awesome, is to get to see those in particular matchups. We never see this with Splatoon, and it sucks. So I'm excited to get to see this happen, those 4 teams going up against each other. Oh, but where's the Japan team? Where's Kings or whatever other variant of team that Japan's going to spit out to rob us of all of these things and just show up at Shine and Riptide and all this stuff and take the $500 and run off into the night? I haven't seen that team yet, unless they've signed up under a different name. And of course, I don't know like every single team that signs up in this one. I don't know who that pink team is. I don't recognize the players on that. So that maybe that is, I don't know. But we all know one team is coming. Eventually, there is one monster coming that is just going to beat all of these teams that I just mentioned. And quite honestly, is going to knock them out in an awkward order to where those 4 teams will never get to play each other at all, unless it's like a best of 3 off-stream match that happens in loser's bracket or something like that, which is frustrating if we don't get to see some of these matchups here. But at least they're here in their all full forms. No gimmicks. No, you have to cycle through every single mode. No, you have to pick Turf War Game 5. No, you have to use all brushes. No, you have to use all missile spam. No restrictions whatsoever. Play the games. Let's find out who's better than who. Now, this is the part where it becomes pretty chalk about what we're going to see, right? Well, the beauty of low ink is you have no idea who's going to win. Nobody thought Splat-A-Lot-A was going to win. Everybody thought Delicious Nuggets was going to win. Nobody thought Sleeping Seals was going to win. Maybe I should have thought Splatter Swim was going to win that one time. There's so many situations where you get a grand finals in low ink. It's 2 teams you've probably never heard of. And it's exciting because it's so much parity. And as we're going to look at Little Squid League, a ton of parity in the tournament that happened that past Saturday as well. This tournament, however, we all know what's going to happen. If you don't, why are you watching me? How do you not pay attention to anything except just what I tell you? You're going to be just fine if that's the case, by the way. But here's the situation. FT Win is the greatest team of all time for Splatoon 2. That done deal. There's nothing you can do to dispute it. For 2 solid years, they gatekept the entire scene. They forced teams to disband, reassemble their roster, and come out with this brand new team to try to take them down. Failed to take them down, disband, and try again. They completely demolished everybody for like 2 straight years outside of Japan. They're the greatest team of all time for Splatoon 2. There's nothing that can be changed about that. The best team today, though, and the best skill level team we probably have ever seen outside of Japan is the Starburst roster that we're going to be seeing come out right here. Quite honestly, yes, with Jackpot here, with Ice here, with FT Win here, which we haven't really seen this new FT Win roster. Not that it's new, but they are bringing out a Charger now, or at least we're expecting to see a Charger. Bursty's back, and I guess Shaq and Keo aren't off with college because it's during the summertime. But still, Starburst, ever since FT Win went to college, Starburst has just taken over, and they haven't been interested in handing back anything from that point. I think if you had to tell me, if you had to take a guess, here's your two options as to who's going to win Superjump 2 from the North America, from a team that's not from Japan. It's Starburst or everybody else. Jackpot, FT Win, Ice, somebody else we haven't heard of yet. Some like +1/+2 pickup that's going to upset everybody, which we're seeing a lot of upsets of these teams in recent tournaments. That's your options. It's Starburst versus the field, and I think you're on crazy pills if you don't pick Starburst at this point. There's no reason not to pick them against all those other teams. I'm not saying a team like Jackpot can't beat them, but can anybody tell a time when Jackpot has beaten Starburst in a legit tournament? FT Win, we haven't really seen FT Win play Starburst in a legit tournament. It's always been not FT Win or in a Nintendo or some sort of gimmicky shopping spree, something like that tournament. But I don't know. Starburst, now that they got Biscuit and Bagel, it just seems like there's just too much firepower in the that they have to work with right there. Starburst is going to win this one. Now, when they get to grand finals and they have to play the team from Japan, are they going to beat them? History will tell you no. But it all depends on a lot of factors. One thing I kind of pointed out leading up to this event was Starburst's issue, just top level's issue in general, with having stamina deep into these tournaments. They're not used to having to actually care for extended periods of time when it comes to these kind of tournaments. They don't. I mean, it's just maybe I'll use some funny weapons to help entertain me till we get to grand finals. And they're not used to playing at a like laser focused level for extended periods of time because there's nobody to challenge them to push them to that point. But if Starburst has to play like quarterfinals, they got to play like an FT Win caliber team. And then semifinals, they got to play Ice. And then winners finals, they got to play the Japan team. And then if they win that or they lose it, then they got to play Jackpot. You're talking about like a couple of hours where they really, really have to lock in. And history has shown us that they can't do that against the team from Japan that can. When Starburst has played the Kings in 20XX and Superjump last year, in the semifinal matchups, they played twice in semifinals. Their records per game against each other, 5-5. They're dead even. When the tournament's early, they're right with each other. Their records per game in grand finals of both of those tournaments, when they played against each other, Kings have 11 wins. Starburst has 2. They're not competitive at all in grand finals because they can't keep firing on all cylinders, whereas the Kings or whatever team from Japan can, because that's just a typical Sunday afternoon for them, the level that they play at. So that's going to be the storyline on Sunday. Can Starburst withstand all of those teams? Can they run through the gauntlet? And then after paying the price to get to grand finals, do they have enough left in the wallet to pay the price to win it? That's what we're going to be seeing. But as far as somebody in North America or Europe knocking off Starburst, I don't know if we're going to see that. History will tell you it's not going to happen. Not that it can't happen, but if I'm betting channel points, which I will be this weekend, I'm letting it ride on Starburst every single time. A great tournament, though, is what we're going to be seeing. I'm excited. I think we're going to get a lot of feedback in this one, and that's only going to make Superjump 3, the first Superjump in Splatoon 3, even better. This isn't the final tournament for Splatoon 2, but it serves as a finale for Splatoon 2. We'll take it. It's going to be an exciting weekend. Make sure you sign up and play in it. Be commentating part of it. I don't know if I'm going to be playing or not, but I'll definitely be helping TO it at some points as well. It's going to be a fun weekend. Alliance Rogue basically is Ice, that other team that I mentioned. There is no Alliance Rogue isn't really playing. Ice is Brian, Kiver, Obito, and Gray. Heritage team finished second place in that LAN that I was talking about a little bit earlier. And I don't know who beat them or how close or competitive that was. But that team you mentioned, Sloshy, is still pretty good on their own right. That's for sure. That's enough without Superjump. I got a date with my mom, so we got to wrap this up. It's time for the weekly recap. SOS number 75 was won by, oh, bless our hearts, gas prices. It's not a good sign. 4-0 over the JP Team of the Week Limit Break. Snack Pack getting taking third place in that one, I believe, because their opponent dropped. You know, as I was looking at that, I wonder how many people actually play in third place matches. Sometimes I just look at a 3-0 and I was like, wow, they really stomped that team. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. They probably just like, I don't want to play for third place. Who cares? The team gas prices, if you've wondered who's this team that's constantly playing in league and always kicking your butt in league and getting like 2,600 results, it's that team. Fanta, Forge, Luke. I don't think they dropped a single game. They 4-0'd grand finals. They went undefeated in Top Cut. So I think they had a perfect tournament. And I believe they're signed up for Superjump as well. Maybe not as the gas prices team, but I did see those players. Unless I didn't. Hammerhead won by Micklin Heroes. Make a Bracket won by Crimson Quake. Hey, I see you guys. We'll see you on Friday. Lantern Bracket won by Reality Breakers. SAC qualifier number 2 won by the Cascade Duck Crew. Second place went to Unlimited Woomy United, and third place went to Synergy. Whoa! I kind of tweeted out that this looks like a 2021 summer beta bracket to some extent. Was Cascade Duck Crew? That was Untitled Duck Crew at one point, right? Obviously, they're way better than the Unlimited Duck Crew was back in the day. But Cascade Duck Crew coming in and dominating this tournament. I don't believe dropped any sets. They did lose some games, but no sets. Was not expecting that. And Unlimited Woomy United dominating as well. I believe Synergy is, even though they got third place 2 weeks in a row, I believe is number 1 in the standings right now, because a lot of the players that played and a lot of teams that got a lot of points in the first qualifier didn't sign up for the second one. So the scoreboard is kind of all over the place at this point, and 2 more qualifiers remain. As far as I'm concerned, Synergy is the only lock to make top. No. Synergy, Unlimited Woomy United are definitely locks. If Cascade Duck Crew continues to play, they're going to be a lock as well. But everything else seems kind of up for grabs just because teams aren't playing consistently in both tournaments yet. It just seems like if you play all 4 tournaments and you just do decent, you're going to make top 8 this season. So make sure you play. Squid Junction number 26, won by Stampede, a.k.a. Chara, Kiwi, Mecha, and Storm Hero. They beat Snobby Shores, and Micklin Hero took third place. Micklin Hero's been grinding a lot of tournaments. I would hope they are signed up for Superjump. Are they the best team in South America? It's between them and Narwhal Gaming, I believe. Both really strong teams in their own right. But Micklin's been grinding. The real story of this tournament here, or not, I guess not the real story, but the one I found interesting was Memory and Micklin Heroes did trade a couple of wins against each other. Memory knocking out Micklin Heroes in the beginning, and then Micklin Heroes getting the revenge on them later in the, I believe, losers semifinals. Yes, because Micklin Heroes took third place in this one. The final Friday Night Frenzy took place last Friday night, as we wait for the music to catch up here so we can end this in a smooth way. Shiver Me Inklings got a 2-1 win, technically an upset over New Horizon. Ink Bashers bashed out INKD to take the number 1 seed, 2-1. And Crimson Quake beats Aquatic Vanguard 2-1 in the play-in game, essentially to make the bracket there. So Aquatic Vanguard eliminated from playoffs, which starts this upcoming Friday. Ink Bashers will be taking on Crimson Quake, and INKD will be taking on New Horizons. The winner of both those matchups will play in best of 7 counterpick grand finals. That is a gauntlet. I mean, if you're Ink Bashers, you're the number 1 seed. Do you feel like you've dodged bullets by playing Crimson Quake, who just won Mako bracket in round 1? There is no advantage to having any seed in that tournament. That is going to be a killer Friday. And that was your weekly recap, sponsored by Superjump 2. Wow, it's really... I might as well get paid by Superjump at this point. Maybe that should be one of the prizes, is I get some money to some extent. Superjump 2, registration ends Thursday morning here in North America. So make sure you sign up either today, tomorrow, or Wednesday, or else you're going to be one of those people crying in help desk, and we're going to laugh at you in the staff channel for doing so. Superjump 2, the official sponsor of this week's episode of the Weekly Recap. Let's take a look at Little Squid quickly. We need to run through this one while also being fair to what we're seeing. While we're getting this set up, there's a couple things I want to point out. This Little Squid League. First off, there have been some monsters that have been coming from Little Squid League lately. Splatalot A, who played in Little Squid League 20, ended up winning Low Ink. Sia, who played in Little Squid League 21, who ended up winning the Splatalot from the Splatalot tournament. It's like, well, where are all these Little Squid League teams dominating other tournaments that are technically above Little Squid League level? It's credit to Little Squid League for creating the environment for these teams to grow. But there's a lot more monsters that are about to pop off. This tournament was very competitive and had a ton of parity, as we're going to take a look at. Even though it looks like it's calmed down a little bit, it hasn't. There's still more monsters yet to come. One more thing I want to point out. The stream always finds a new way to take a next step up. I believe Jub is the mastermind still behind all of this stuff. Replays being added now. Man, this constantly just looks more and more sharp and crisp. Also, is Falco now the consistent voice? I haven't been paying crazy attention, but I feel like Falco's been the consistent grand final commentator, and they just keep rotating in somebody new to be the co-commentator with that. That's been pretty cool to see. I like, obviously, as somebody who's done the past 24 some odd Low Ink grand finals, it's I understand the importance of having a consistent voice there. And I think the audience can appreciate that as well, because you get to know the teams you're talking about month after month after month. I believe Falco's starting to be the consistent voice of Little Squid League, and that's good. Falco's a good voice to have. So hats off yet again. Every single month I talk about how good the stream is for good reason. Let's look at the groups. A lot of these groups, as I was looking through them, it was like, oh, this is perfect. They're all finishing how they're seeded to finish. Fish was the number 1 seed in this group. Hook, Line, Sinker number 2. Territorial Water Otters number 3. And it all went down exactly how it was scripted to go down. Hook, Line, and Sinker made it interesting in their matchup with Fish, taking them to a game 3. But Fish being the Fishies, the experienced team that they are, able to get the win. And move on. But still, these two teams move on the top cut anyways when there's 3 teams in the group. First 2 move on. Bottom team falls down. We'll talk more about the 2 here in a second. The Territorial Water Otters in a second. Because they did something kind of impressive, even though maybe it wasn't in Silver Bracket. Group B, same thing. Splatalot I, and now this is the trend you're going to see. They don't just go by the alphabet anymore. They actually have names based off of their alphabetical level. So the Splatalot imbeciles. That's what you could come up with, really. They take care of business, winning this one. Marine Melodies supposed to be second place. They take care of business as well against Base Bars. So pretty much chalk here in Group B as well. Group C, things got a little bit interesting. Summer Zeit was seated above Boston Squid Party. One thing I want to point out for Group B, all of these were 3-0s as well, so that worked out just perfectly how TOs had drew it up. Group C, Boston Squid Party made this one really interesting with Summer Zeit as well. This match was on stream, tied 1-1 with like both teams clearing the first checkpoint at Tower Control Anchovy and no team clearing the second one at any point. And Summer Zeit just pushed the tower just barely a little bit further than Boston Squid Party, like 2 points further, and able to win that one right there. Again, both teams move on, so theory doesn't really matter, but still a great match to have on stream. And it was good to see Boston Squid Party. We'll talk more about them later. Splatalot H, a.k.a. Splatalot Horizon. That's much better than Splatalot Imbeciles falling down to silver this time around. Splatalot Gambit. And this is where, so all of these first 3 seeds groups went as scripted, and then Group D happened here, and we got a circle of suck. 2-1s across the board with Inker National. God, this is the age of the Ink teams coming back now, huh? Is that what we're seeing? Being the odd man out. Okay, Circle of Parody. I like Circle of Suck. It's a little bit more negative, and I like being negative every now and then. But Splatalot Gambit. Okay, so this is Splatalot G, and quite honestly, I couldn't find information on Splatalot G. A lot of these teams, when you look at like individual players, it like some of these Splatalot players are like subbing for others in some tournaments, so it's hard to pinpoint like what makes Splatalot G different from Splatalot I or Splatalot H or Splatalot B. It's hard for these teams to get identities. Now that they got actual names, it's going to be a little bit easier. But it's, like I can't tell you anything specific about Splatalot G, other than they were seeded first in this group and they went on to win it, technically by the group tiebreakers. Glitter Gel Pins being the odd man left out in this little circle of suck here. But something really interesting happened. We're going to talk about these teams again because this was by far the most difficult group, and all these teams did really well. In the brackets they went on to. I think Otako's lost round 1, but still, these two teams, like everybody was really strong in this group. And you could have put any one of them in alpha bracket, and I think they would have done pretty well. Or gold bracket. Group E. Distinct. Ugh. You slipped it in there. Here's what's interesting about Distinct. Obviously, spoiler alert, they won the whole tournament. I get that. But they, in this group stage here, against all 3 teams, and this is a tough group to be in as well. Bamboo Dragons being a strong team that I believe has made gold bracket before, going 0-3. Just shows how stacked this group is. But Distinct did not sweep anybody. They went 2-1 across the board. So they did not get any 3-0s in this group. And this is the team that won the whole tournament. Man, so much parity in Little Squid League. Nicely done. But you had to earn this seeding right here because just like a bad 10 seconds here or there, they lose a game 3 match against one of these teams, and all of a sudden they're in silver. It doesn't take long to get there, but show some guts, some tenacity to clutch one out when you need to clutch it out. I see you, Distinct. Rise and Shine, able to take the second group there as well. There's second place in that group, going to gold bracket. Group F, Pingers won all of their matches 2-1 as well. So not easy, suspiciously difficult 3-0s for a lot of these teams here. Rolling Squids, I believe, technically upset some people along the way right here to get into the spot. Over Splatalot Blitz. I believe Splatalot Blitz was seeded to win this one, so Rolling Squids stole that spot from them. Everglades had a really tough match. Again, Everglades finished in the bottom here, but they were on stream against Pingers, and it looked like at one point they were going to beat them 2-1. So this is a suspicious 0-3 for Everglades as well. It's not a fair 0-3 for Everglades. But it just, again, shows you, even when you don't win something here, these teams are putting up a lot of fight. And I want to highlight that with where we're looking at in silver bracket right here. Again, Territorial Water Otters did not win any games in their group, and they didn't win any matches here either. But they took the Bamboo Dragons to a game 5. Like, that is a competitive, like, Territorial Waters did not win anything, but they still got to be feeling like, wow, we took Bamboo to a game 5. That's impressive. Now, here's something I want us to talk about eventually. Are you allowed to put losses in your results? Like, you're allowed, does anyone care if you take one game off of a team in a best of 3? Like, you really shouldn't, right? Like, who cares? You didn't beat them. But there is no like consolation prize for going 2-3, but a 2-3 result is a lot more impressive than a 1-2 result. And I think a 2-3 here is something that the Water Otters can build off of and deserve some credit for that as well. Bamboo Dragons ended up taking 4th place here because they ended up going against Splat-A-Lot Blitz. Man, this is a rough run for Bamboo. Game 5, Game 4, Game 5. They played a lot of matches in Silver Bracket here. But Splat-A-Lot B, aka Splat-A-Lot Blitz, able to take 3rd place in this one. The finals match here is what's interesting. Remember that circle of suck that I pointed out earlier? These two teams were in it. These were the two teams that were the odd teams out in that tiebreaker group, and they ended up playing against each other in grand finals of silver. And International was the team that went 0-3 in that group. In fact, this is a rematch where they got swept by the Glitter Gel Pins. They got swept by them in group stage, and now they turned around and pulled a little Splat-A-Lot ale on them, going 4-1. Ooh, interesting. It's hard to beat a team twice in the same tournament, even when you sweep them. Even when everybody was beating International, they went on a run here and just had too much momentum. That was interesting. So yeah, in that tiebreaker group, 2 of these teams that finished in the bottom got 1st and 2nd in silver. That's why I'm saying, like, the silver bracket is always loaded with somebody. Boston Squid Party was here last month. Or I guess this wasn't even last month. It was like 3 weeks ago, wasn't it? Like, we just did this. These teams are improving dramatically. It's cool to see. They're improving dramatically in the middle of the day. That's how quickly these teams are getting better. But looking at gold bracket real quick, the few things I wanted to point out here. First off, Boston Squid Party. This team got 2nd place in silver bracket last month. They get 4th place in gold this time around if they actually played. Again, now I'm suspicious of every single 3-0 in a 3rd place match. Did this actually play or not? I would hope it did. But the question for the Boston Squid Party was, I saw they lost Caleb, their Tetra player, who seemed like a really solid player, quite honestly, for the few times I saw them play on stream. But it's good that they're still able to move forward. Look at what they did here. Marine Melody, 2-0, but knocking off Oofish, the team that's like, when are you going to win this tournament? Because you guys are so good. Start winning this doggone thing. Boston Squid Party playing spoiler this time around, 3-1 them, and then taking a game off the team that won the whole thing. Boston Squid Party's looking really good. I was nervous when they lost Caleb, but it seems like they're going to be just fine. And I'm interested to see what team picks up Caleb. That Tetra player seemed pretty strong when I saw them play. A lot of good things going on down in Boston. Hook, line, and sinker. This team made gold bracket last time. They got round 1 eliminated by Zomerzeit, who did not play them this time around. But hook, line, and sinker going all the way. 2-0 Otakos, 3-1 over the Imbeciles. that is... Caleb's on Myopsidus now. Oh, that's a good pickup. That's a really good pickup for them. And then taking the team that finished in 2nd place all the way to a game 5. Hook, line, and sinker. Another team playing in a lot of little squid leagues. Their moment's finally coming right now, and just barely didn't come in the right time for them to move on to grand finals. But hook, line, and sinker seems like they're the real deal as well. Good to see them get the result that they got here. They earned it. They deserve it. Now, grand finals. I don't know like I said, I don't really know much about Splat-A-Lot, Gambit. And Distinct, I know those players have played in tournaments before, but I couldn't really figure out what it was. Now, they play I believe this is the first time Distinct has actually played as a team. But I know those players all have experience. It's hard to look up on Battlefy like what exact teams you played with. If this team signed up for Low Inc., I can use our bots and I can find all that information quickly. But I can't. I had no idea who any of those players were. But the grand finals matchup here, I want to point out how much parity was in this. Distinct, I talked about, did not sweep anybody in their group in their group back in group stage. And Splatterlot Gambit just got in because of a 2-1 tiebreaker that went into their favor. You talk about the two teams that finished in grand finals. If they just have a bad 10 seconds in the group stage, and they lose one of those games, just one of those games they won, both these teams could end up in silver bracket. Like that's how close it was. Like, it was not easy for these teams to even make gold bracket, and they're playing against each other in grand finals. Like, you can't get this level of parity anywhere else. That's what's so. I'm glad this is what Little Squid League has kind of become as well. This thing is even more unpredictable in Low Inc. in some situations here. And the weapons you saw on stream, this was so bizarre. So Distinct's comp bounced around between a Kinsa Mini, a Charger, a Roller. They could drop the Charger and go anchorless if they wanted to. Okay, that's a little bit different. Gambit's comp was a Kinsa Jr., a Perma Brush, Tetras. What is going on here? Now, Perma Brush, I think, is actually pretty decent, quite honestly. You can trend out a lot of armors with that thing and find ways to be aggressive. One of my teammates is convinced Perma Brush just straight up counters Charger. I don't know about that, but Perma Brush is still pretty cool. But like, this is so many different unique weapons. That's a fun match. I haven't gone through and watched like all the way through. I had to like skip through it just to get the information I needed. But it looked like just a fun match of just some off meta stuff and some strong skill level teams for low level that produced a fun tournament here. So that's all I can really say about Distinct is congratulations on winning. If you guys sign up for Low Inc., I'll do a little bit better in-depth look into who you guys are. But Splatterlot Gambit, congratulations to yourself. Nice tournament there. Only 20 some odd teams. Again, this is what I'm talking about. Less teams are signing up for tournaments, but the quality of the tournament isn't dropping off at all. Quality of the tournaments are not dropping because of the quantity of the teams. We're seeing that time and time again. So wait till Splatoon 3 when the quantity goes back up. The quality is still going to be there. It's some exciting stuff. Splat a Little Spool says Gambit is Splatterlot Gambit was built 3 weeks ago. It's our third newest A B C D E F G. Why do you have G come after H and I? What kind of alphabet are you guys doing over there? EST Spool says Kinsa Jr. was a sub. The Tetra Perma is normal for Gambit. Okay, cool. So, still, I thought it was cool to see the Perma Brush. I found that interesting. So there you go. We are a little bit over time, and I'm going to be late for dinner with my mom. If you'd like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, please feel free to reach out to my socials below. Twitter, @Muster_Popgun, Discord, Popgun, #5882, YouTube at 25Popgun, Twitch at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun. Sign up for Superjump if you haven't already. If you haven't done it yet, it's probably too late because it's going to take your teammates forever to respond to that. Get vaccinated. I'll see you guys next week. We are recapping Superjump 2 on the next episode of the podcast, and maybe we'll try to find a way to get an interview of somebody on as well. Bye.